83 new mounts. 83. Okay.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Shadowlands Alpha data mining video.
I swear to God, man, like, I'm so sick of seeing this cinematic. Like, I really don't want to see it ever again. It gives me PTSD. It makes me angry and upset just to look at it. I am so fucking sick of it.
It's the first one, and as is tradition around here, we are going to begin by taking a look at the new mounts that we can expect to collect in this expansion. It's an incredibly exciting time. There's going to be a lot of content from us, so expect that. And especially today, if you're interested in this WoW console stuff that's appeared and the new allied races that may be coming, well, eventually, be sure to hit that sub button. It'll be pretty fun. This is the beginning of a long, exciting journey together, so stick with me. This is going to be great stuff, and let's get into the video. Let's waste no time and start off with the mounts of Ardenweald. And first up, we've got 4 different tints of this base stag mount. You'll see the extremely fancy version of it in due course.
What do you guys think about this one?
Glance, yeah, it looks like a pretty good stag.
This one looks nice. I would say this is a nice looking mount. It fits the theme of the expansion. It's basically a Talbook, but it's fancy. It's a fancy Talbook with a couple of little curly cues on it, a little bit of the blue things, the red things. It's exciting. Yeah, I would say this is good.
Particularly love is the shape language, right? The lines are a little bit different. They're a little bit more smooth than we've seen in the past. In terms of elements, though, I'll tell you what I really love about this.
It looks good.
I initially saw this at a glance, and I thought, oh, look, feathers. And then I'm like, wait,
no,
leaves. They're leaves.
Yeah.
And then I looked at the saddle. Hey, they look like leaves as well.
That is really cool.
That is a really, really nice.
So it's it's vegan friendly. There's no leather made by the saddle or anything like that. It's completely vegan friendly.
Look. And as we move on through the tints, well, yeah, I mean, these are not the most impactful tints. I think these will just be selections based on your own personal choices. I do quite like the autumnal look, though, of, you know, of the colors of the leaves on this guy. And then as we move forward to the final one,
I like that one a lot.
It's
that
a
looks
pretty
really
nice base mount. Of course, though, that is the base.
Yeah.
Let's next talk about the, well, the more fancy version. Yeah, this guy, this guy is certainly out there trying to impress the ladies.
Holy
if,
shit!
Stags of the real world are anything to go by.
God
so we've got these
damn!
big, beautiful horns. I love how we've got this arcane looking, well, maybe
Look
not
at
arcane,
that,
it's like nature
dude!
magic going on in their horns.
Wow!
Once again, the beautiful lines and shape language of this.
This is what we like to see.
Really following through and advancing in a nice way.
Oh my
As we go
God.
through the tints of this guy, once again, I think they're all looking pretty great. Now, in terms of when we look at the specifics here, what I think is pretty cool is the...
This is fucking awesome. Here's what I hope that we get out of these mounts, is that each one of them has, like, the same, like, path of obtaining them. And this is something I've talked about with other mounts and like other stuff in the game before, is that whenever it's not a storm mount, it's not going to be a storm mount. If this mount is a storm mount, I'll eat an entire head of broccoli on stream. Okay? Yeah, I'll eat an entire head of broccoli on stream. Trust me, that's worse than anything else that I could ever possibly say. Raw. Absolutely fucking raw. So, it's not going to be a storm mount. I like it a lot, but I do hope that all of the mounts that look like this are obtained from the same base activity, right? Like getting reputation or something like that. That way, it doesn't devalue. They don't devalue each other.
Basically these glowy lines.
Yeah, they're
Of course, they're going
awesome.
to remind you of maybe root systems, veins, that sort of thing. Of course, this is Ardenweald.
Oh my
Some of
God.
those shapes remind me of what you actually see in the shapes of the grass of the floor in the Emerald Dream. Now, of course, Ardenweald is a dark mirror to the Emerald Dream. It's the death version of it,
Dude,
so I think that's
a badass
pretty
mount.
cool little tidbit. And yes, suffice to say, this is a mount I absolutely will be getting.
Oh my God.
And for our next 3 Ardenweald mounts, well,
it sucks. It sucks. I mean, like, let's be real, it sucks. It's the same mount that we've seen before. This is basically just like the Emerald Dream Runner. Yeah, so do the Emerald Dream Runner, but a little bit different. A little bit purple. And that's pretty much what it is. I'm sorry, but this mount sucks.
Something you've seen before. Yes, they made this rig and model in Legion, and my god, they certainly have got a lot of use out of it. That said, it is a beautiful, right? So the actual base work there is beautiful. These are 3, I'd say, very nice tints of it. Yeah,
This sucks. I'm not excited to get this mount. I'll get it, of course, but I'm not excited to get it. Like, I mean, think about it like this, okay? We're at 307. All right, what do you want? You want that one? Or you want this majestic fucking steed? This is what Cenarius rides. This is what X Malfurion X rides. Okay? The level 96 druid. Let's be real.
is you've mostly all seen this before, so I'm just going to move on to the next one, which is rather impressive. Behold the 4-color variants of the Ardenweald Moth mount. Yeah, this thing is looking pretty damn fantastic, I've got to say. What I love here is this is a type of mount that we've never really seen before. Yes, we've had insects, we've had the bee, of course, of the most recent expansion, BFA, a bee that certainly did keep people waiting for quite some time to get.
I'm liking this.
Yeah, this one is new. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I'm thinking about particularly there are some druid transmog sets from the past that are going to look absolutely incredible.
This is really, really
some
nice.
Of the tints that are going on here, and of course a lot of the Ardenweald stuff
I like
is
that
also
one a
going to
lot,
look really fantastic with these mounts. Yeah, this has got to be one of the stars of the show for me. Now that said, I do want to temper some of you.
Oh shit, sorry. That is fucking impressive, man. It's not like Mothra, dude. Mothra is much more dangerous. This is really nice. Like, I mean, these mounts that I'm seeing so far, just like, what is it? 3 out of the 4 mount variants that we've seen so far are great. Like, these are great. I mean, they're completely normal. Full screen it. It's hard for me to do that. I guess, I mean, maybe what I could do is I could go and do it like this, maybe? Move it like here. Because I don't want to full screen. It's like kind of like weird for me to do that. Like, maybe I could do it like this. How about this? Okay. Yeah, that way it's a little bit bigger. I don't like doing this, but since it's like mounts, I want to make sure, like, I know a lot of you guys are on mobile and stuff like that, so I want to make sure you guys can see it and, you know, really see what we're seeing here on the computers.
Expectations here. So this is a flying mount. Just to
I would hope
fill you in here, we saw loads of flying mounts in the alpha data mining for the Battle for Azeroth expansion.
I'm not a big
course,
fan of
those
that
flying mounts, well, they only made it in patch 8.2. So as much as, yes, we are looking at this right now, it could actually be 12 calendar months, potentially more, before you can actually get your hands on this. But still, more wonderful work from the team. Fantastic mounts. And then
I think... Dude! What, dude? Oh my god!
You've seen the beauty of nature and Ardenweald, but of course, well, nature has got a lot more to it, and here we have got a pretty incredible mount. Basically the composter. This is the kind of guy who's going to be living on the forest floor, numbing things up
this is
and,
awesome.
well, you know, turning it into compost. The cycle of life. What I really like here is we're seeing another side to the nature stuff. Often when you see nature stuff in games, it's just focused purely on beauty, whereas with this, we're actually getting something new and different.
It's got this
sort of trilobite look that I really like. I love the little glowing lights that are hanging above it as well. I think that is really cool. This is...
Holy shit, dude. Holy shit. I am... Oh my god, dude.
A fairly unique mount. This is really something for Ardenweald that you wouldn't have expected based on it just being, you know, Val'sharah, but at night with blue instead, which obviously is a reductive way of putting it. But yeah, this is a really nice mount. And as we go through the color variations, I think more so than some of the other Ardenweald mounts, we've got more color variations going on here. So hopefully the majority of these tints do actually make it to players. Very, very nice stuff indeed. And with this mount shown, that's actually us for Ardenweald. I've got to say, this one is going to be really hard to top for me.
I don't know if I think I probably like this one the most because it's just more unique and different than the other mounts. Like, obviously, this one's, like, super ornate, and it's got all the weird things coming off of it, etc., right? But I really, really like, I really, really like this one, too. But I think my favorite is probably the Decomposer. It just looks like the most unique and cool mount so far. That's, in general, my opinion. The bug mount, yeah. I don't know. Which one do you guys like the most from Ardenweald? Last one looks like Azurite. Wait, what do you mean, Azurite? The Moth? Okay, a lot of people really like the Moth. I can see why they do. I mean, it makes sense. I definitely can see why they do. Okay, I'm going to move forward.
Reductive way of putting it, but yeah, this is a really nice mount, and as we go through the color variations, I think more so than some of the other Ardenweald mounts, we've got more color variations going on here, so hopefully the majority of these tints do actually make it to players. Very, very nice stuff indeed. And with this mount shown, that's actually us for Ardenweald. I've got to say, this one is going to be really hard to top for me. And next, it is time to bring you to Bastion, where once again, we have got our favorite horn.
Well. Maybe that's how they're going to balance the racials and the Covenant abilities. Is the Bastion Covenant ability is going to be so ridiculously fucking overpowered, but nobody will play Bastion because nobody wants to be seen riding this reskinned dark piece of shit horse. Like, this is awful. Everybody gets Lucid Nightmare now. It's not even Lucid Nightmare. It's like, it's just Nightmare. Yeah, it's not even Lucid Nightmare, it's just Nightmare.
Horse, one we've seen many times before. I've got to say, there's some nice color tints here. I mean...
Wait, we already have this one. We already had, this is, I see what they're doing here. Where is it? What's it called? The 100 mount, 100 achievement mount. 100 rep achievement mount. Which one is it? Esteemed? No, it's not showing it there. Okay, Dream Runner. Is it Dream Runner? I'm not sure. Pure Heart Courser. Yeah, that's what it's called. This is... Oh, you guys can't see. Let me move it up. We already had this one. They just put a saddle on him. How could they put a saddle on this? I got 100 exalted reps. 100 exalted reps. This took me 12 years. Took me 12 years, and now I get an upgraded version of the horse just by picking a faction. Oh my god, dude. Oh my fucking god. Whatever. Alright, let's move on.
The dark one, I mean, that's kind of similar to the one that we got from completing that big puzzle in Legion. But hey, I'll tell you what, I really like the golden one, actually. So there you go. It's that horse mount again. Let's move on.
Dude.
Next, we have 3 tints of the winged lion.
This is a storm mount. They already made this one before. It's a storm mount. Like, what the fuck? What's it called? I'm trying to remember what it is. It's a storm. It's the Winged Guardian. What the I swear to God, if Bastion is my best in slot ability, I am not going to be happy. I am not going to be happy. Are you surprised? Yes, I'm surprised. Okay, I'm going to move forward.
In mount. Yeah, this guy is looking pretty cool. Definitely reminds me of that old store mount that you will have seen from
it sure does.
Oldham. But yeah, pretty nice. I especially like the white and gold versions. I'm actually thinking that those white and gold versions would look pretty good with the Siege of Orgrimmar Paladin set, and of course, I imagine much of the Bastion set as well. He's got quite the face on him, actually. Very soft and cute, rather than vicious, which I think is an interesting choice to go for. Certainly one that will look, will I think work for a lot of players. And yeah, I think especially what I like is the detail of the feathering. That is one thing that Blizzard just seems to get so well. I mean, the feather and the fur in the last few expansions has looked incredible. This is no difference. Once again, a fantastic situation, but I do have to give you that same caveat that I did with this being a flying mount, right? So this may only appear after Pathfinder is unlocked, and that may be patch 9.2. And speaking of lines, well, we've got 4 different automaton lines. This is the base model. So the whole...
I guess this is cool. I mean, the tail is cool, okay? Like, the tail is pretty cool. Outside of the tail, I don't know, it feels like this is like just some kind of like an NPC from Auchindoun and WoD. I'm not like, oh wow, this is so awesome or whatever. It's just like, okay, cool, I guess. Mechagon, it's not really themed like Mechagon, which is why I said Auchindoun, but like Mechagon, yeah, sure. I mean, I think people are just saying that because it's Automaton is in the name, but in general, yeah, sure.
Deal, right, with the Kyrians and
He has a
Bastion
butt
is
plug?
that they have,
Yeah,
yes, there's the
basically.
Kyrians, but there's also these automatons that they use for various reasons, like
Okay.
training and here, quite obviously, riding about the place. So, yeah, that's what's going on. If you actually look at them, I really like the blue sort of detailing thing for their tail. I think that's a really, really cool look. It reminds me a little bit of, well, actually some of the magic from Argus's Scythe. I think some of these would look really good with the vestments of the Eternal Traveler as well. Of course,
So this is the same thing, but the tail is longer. Now, I like that strategy. I'm always a big fan of making the tail longer. Okay? Like, that's always cool. The only problem that I really have with this is that it's not really as, it's not as exciting or, you know, cool as the other one. It's like, compare this one, the Automaton Lion, to the Stag with the massive fucking antlers. I mean, it's pretty hard to beat that.
Of course, in terms of what this model is going to be using, I mean, it'll be similar to, say, the cat mount that we got from Mechagon. Overall,
It's the
though, I think
Fellsaber.
pretty darn cool looking, and I, again, really like the tint
Same thing.
variation. I think especially the white one and the gold one, they will look rather incredible for those really, you know, regal golden paladins and priests. That said, if you're a Shadow Priest, I think that purple one will suit you pretty darn well, too. Then, and in a very similar fashion, we have got the more spiced up version of that lion mount. If you take a look at it closely, what you notice is that blue energy, well, that's also coming out of their helm.
Okay.
And then you've got these new kind of details
Okay.
on the front legs.
Cool.
Which, again, you know, they're kind of like visual go fast stripes.
That's
okay?
awesome.
Like in terms of what, you know, the shape language and stuff
Yeah,
of this mount.
okay.
Overall, I think these are pretty darn cool looking. There are some people, I think, who won't really like automaton mounts. That's fair enough. As far as automaton style ones go, I think these are really good, especially the golden one, right? I just think white, gold, blue, I absolutely love it, and especially with that front view and the way that the blue energy actually looks with the gold. Yes, certainly. If you got those vestments of the Eternal Traveler, they certainly do want you to be able to match Mogs with it. I wonder why. And with that line covered, that's actually...
I wonder why, dude. Isn't that convenient that the thing that you get from the pre-order just happens to match some of the things in the game? Like, honestly, it's a little bit silly, but it's whatever, right? It is basically whatever. Matches Trial of Valor set with the black cat and set. Why all recolors again? Well, the reason, they've always had recolors. I don't have a problem with recolors as long as the recolors, like, you unlock a list of 4 different mounts. It's like you had, 8 different recolors of the Nether Drakes? But it was cool because you got them all at the same time. You had how many different recolors of the Ogre Law mounts? Like 7 or something like that? The recolors are bad whenever it's like, hey, here's a new mount, and the new mount is a recolor from an existing mount that was already in the game. That's the difference between recolors in my mind.
Azadon for Bastion. That said, I do imagine there will be other mounts. There's been a lower count here. Plus, of course, there is going to be a mount for every single Covenant, and we do not yet know if the mounts that you've just seen here are the Covenant ones. So, that's what's up. Next up, let's move on to Maldraxxus. And we're going to start...
The Maldraxxus mounts. Now, if these are bad, I'm going to be very upset. Let me just say that. I will be very, very, very upset.
Start this one off with, well, just 6 chimeras. I've got to be real with you. These are chimeras, right? Like, we have seen this model in the game. Yes, this is a version with a new coat of paint.
I think these look cool. I mean, like, recolors, the difference is that there are reskins that are very similar and pretty much the same thing, but I don't know really what it's going to be, right? I mean, this is a cool looking chimera. I like it. In terms of reskins, this is a very convincing reskin that it's not a reskin. So I will allow this one. I'm not going to complain about this chimera. I actually think that it's unique and cool enough for me to not feel like it's just a reskin.
I do especially like, if we actually hop into the details here, I really like what they've done with the protruding bones on the wings and also the skulls that they've got instead of regular heads, right? They've got that glowing energy, which I do expect will look a little bit better in game than it is going to in a static model or a model viewer situation. But yeah, there you go. Nothing super new here, so let's just move on. Next for Maldraxxus as well, we've got what seems to be a
reskin. So this is a reskin of the War Road to Draenor, the feather here. Now, I want to say, guys, just because something is a reskin, that doesn't mean that it's bad. This is really cool. Like, this actually is really, really cool. So, I have no problem with this one at all. Like, even though it's just basically a reskeleton of the War Road to Draenor Collector's Edition mount or whatever, this is awesome. Yeah, better skin in this case? Yeah, I would say so, absolutely.
Used rig, but a new model, and that is the Roc. Yeah, this is pretty darn cool. I think in just how much of a departure this mount is from other ones that we've seen. The sheer amount of bone that's everywhere, the rotting flesh, gotta be real, it's not for me personally in terms of what I would want for my characters, but that said, I really do like bright, glowing things. I like my pretty stuff, I'll be real, so there's that. But certainly, if you're a Death Knight, an unholy Death Knight, and you like all that death and that decay, I think this is going to be a pretty darn fantastic mount for you. Next up, we do have something that's pretty darn new, and that is the Giant Beast. That's what it seems to be called in the game files. This is
fucking badass. We got ourselves an Ultralisk. Holy shit, dude. This is kind of like an Ultralisk almost. Like, I don't know, it's the first thing that I thought of. This is fucking badass, dude. This is fucking cool. I really like this a lot. The reason I like it a lot is because it's big. That's the main reason. Wait, it's got 2 tails? Holy shit. Okay, yeah, it's really, really fucking cool. Yeah, a Balrog mount, pretty much, yeah. Okay, I just want to say, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't sure about this. Sloopbag is going to be interviewing Ian Esacostas, and I talked to him. He's okay with me watching the interview on my stream, so we're going to be doing that whenever it comes out. I'm talking to him right now. So huge shout out to Sloot. 1 second. Okay, anyway, let me go ahead and move forward. All right, yeah. Hearts in chat for Sloot. Listen, that's not what I said. Guys, that's not what I said. I did not say that. I did not say it like that. It's okay, you guys can do that part of it. I don't mind that. It's funny. As a general rule, the only spam that annoys me is like things that are like, I don't want to say what annoys me because then people will do it. But that's not one of the things that annoys me, okay? People can do that as much as they want.
A I think are really cool.
This
but
is really
horrible
cool.
looking
Yeah,
fellow.
I
So
like
we've got
this a lot.
5 different color variants of it that are, you know, they're pretty much on the more desaturated side, which obviously does work for what they're going for here. Yeah, you know, if you like protruding bone, if you are an undead, a Forsaken, I think it's going to work pretty well for you. What I like as a detail though is whenever you look at the back of it, you've got these 2 bone tails, and I've got to imagine when you're actually running around in this mount that they will, you know, move in a sort of a nice way. So I think that's another element to this mount that's a little bit more unique, right? That'll feel pretty cool. Now, if you actually look at the front view,
like that.
I love its silhouette. You've got these 2 big, pretty nasty looking horns,
Yeah,
and then
I
the
really
skull.
like this a lot,
Maldraxxus
dude.
certainly
This
is a
is
place for
fucking
skulls and
badass.
spiky things. This guy absolutely is proving that for us. A really, really cool looking mount. But next, we've got to check out the armored version, which, I mean, yeah, it's the same dude, but it's covered in armor. That does mean that there's a little bit of the flesh that you can't see. But I'll tell you what I really like about this is there's just armor. It is so crispy. The detailing
Yes,
work
it
that is went in,
is.
like if you actually zoom into that armor,
Damn.
the rust effects, the
Look at
edges
that.
are so crisp. The
Wow.
job they've done with like just the highlights around the edges.
Look at that, dude. That is thick. Look at that. Look at that helmet, man. I really, really like the helmet. This is a really nice mount. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of in Cataclysm, whenever they brought out some of the new mounts and new stuff from Cataclysm, there was like an extra level of fidelity that they increased from Cataclysm to from Wrath of the Lich King to Cataclysm. I feel like we're making that jump again. Like, I genuinely feel like we're making another fidelity and, like, graphical jump in WoW, in general, with a lot of the stuff that I've seen. This is fucking awesome to see. This is really fucking awesome to see. I love this mount.
Blizzard's texture artists are incredible at their job, and it's just whenever we see things like fur and feathers and metal and stone and bone that you really do see that, and this mount is another fantastic example. And finally for Maldraxxus, we've got this guy. Yeah, he's pretty darn derpy looking. He is a boar. Don't know, have we seen?
He's called Big Stupid. Yeah, he's called Big Stupid. And, I don't know, really, like, I'm sorry, but this is a dumb-looking mount, man. This is a straight-up dumb-looking mount. And I like it because it looks so dumb.
You know, have we seen a boar since Warlords of Draenor, right? I mean, maybe we've had our rest time in boars.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time for another boar in World of Warcraft. So yeah, funky looking dude,
Yeah.
I'll say that. His silhouette's got this interesting smoothness to it. I think it's because it's a hairless boar, and if you've ever seen like a hairless bear, or just in general, loads of hairless mammals,
They look fucking disgusting.
they are really, really freaky. I mean, hairless bears are basically horrifying. I'll get a picture of a hairless bear.
Oh, what the fuck, dude? God damn, that's a... Stay the fuck away from him.
You know, shot up on the screen for you. I mean,
Yeah.
yikes. So yeah, if you look at this Maldraxxus Boar mount, you can kind of see how it's transitioning from, you know, a boar into this one with no, you know, nothing on it, right? It's, ugh. Yeah. Okay, so what does that actually mean? Well, if you want a pretty spooky, weird-looking mount, this guy is certainly going to do that for you.
Right, I would say
As I
so.
said, not really for me. I'm not a big fan of the undead stuff personally, but this is obviously, I think, a really well-executed piece of art. So, good job to the team.
It's
That is
unique.
it for Maldraxxus
It is certainly
so far.
unique.
And with that, let's get on to Revendreath. We're going to kick Revendreath off with the giant vampire bat. Yeah, I think bats are probably...
I don't give a fuck about this one, honestly. I don't. It's just not... It's like I've seen a bunch of other bats already. So, like, whenever I see this one, it's like, okay, cool, they have another one in the game. Yeah, this is called... This is the Corona bat, exactly. So, I don't know, man. We'll see what this goes with. Can you get every
Probably
faction
a bit
mount? I
less
have no
popular
idea.
these days for obvious reasons than they have been in the past. But hey, we're dealing with vampires. Bats obviously will make a lot of sense. And yeah, I mean, Blizzard are pretty good at making bats. It's weird. I mean, I look at this, I'm like, yeah, it's a bat. It's pretty cool, but it's not particularly groundbreaking. I think that's because we have seen quite a few bats in the game before. Now, what I will say is the little headpiece that the bats have got, I think that does look really nice. Adds another little bit of flair and, I guess, regal.
Okay. No, never mind. I don't think I can make that joke. That borderlines on racism. Never mind. Fuck.
To it, which does make a lot of sense when you think about Revendreath having its big castles, and certainly these guys, you can imagine them, you know, just perching the parapets, waiting for, well, some unlucky person to stumble by. So, a pretty cool mount, and with that, let's move on. Next up for Maldraxxus, we have got the Death Warg, a fairly interesting looking fellow. You may...
Let me rename this. The Gray Bear. It's a gray bear. That's what it is, but it's got a slightly different face. I don't, like, this one's not really that cool to me. I mean, I guess it's kind of interesting, but it's just, yeah, it's pretty much a honey badger. And I guess it's cool. I guess. But I'm not, like, really, like, oh, wow, this is so awesome. I can't wait to see what else is going on. Like, it's just whatever to me.
Instantly think, oh, that's a bit of a derpy looking face, but if you think about it, right, this kind of looks like a gargoyle, okay? The sort of thing that you would imagine to be crafted,
it's like a vampiric bear
by some craftsperson hundreds of years ago. Just
wow.
no, now it's...
Yo, this one looks way fucking better. Holy shit, this one looks good. All right, see that? Yeah, this one looks 1,000 times better. Something what? Wait to see your arm. Oh, there's an armored version of this? Holy shit. Yeah, I really like this mount a lot now. I mean, it's still basically a bear. It's still not as cool as it could be, but, you know, we'll see where it goes.
Flashy, it's moving about, and it's probably going to eat you. So, we got this guy. We got a few different tints of him. I think the reddish one is my favorite, though.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
100%,
Red,
dude.
blood,
100%.
vampires, Revendreath.
Yeah.
Pretty darn obvious. That's what's going on with the base version of this model. What I actually really like, before I move on to the armored version, just its front silhouette. It's so aggressive. Like, if you see that thing, it's the last thing you're going to be seeing. A really, really nice bit of work by the artists. And with that, let's move on to its more armored version. Of course, for Revendreath, well, more armored also means a little bit more regal. I mean, look at that throne that you're pretty much going to be riding around on. I love the two torches that you've got sticking out there. So you've got that, and then, of course, you have just got the various different color palettes for the armor. Once again, red and gold is the one that I like, because, as you know, I tend to like, in cases like this, sort of saturated, pretty colors. Certainly, my thumbnails would suggest that, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Sorry, artists, I know I really do blow them up.
This is cool. This is actually pretty fucking cool. Originally, I saw the bear, and I was like, this one sucks. But the right colors in the right place, with the right red and the right spikes, and a lot of them, this looks really cool. Same as the PvP bear. Yeah, it is a lot the same as the Vicious Warbear, you're right. But I feel like this one's, the art style on it is different enough for me to not really draw the comparison immediately.
Yeah, a really, really nice looking mount. Not too much extra to say here, just that it kind of does remind me of the PvP mounts. Like, the way that it's basically just a walking tank. I mean, if the last one looked aggressive, this one certainly does look more aggressive. Now, that said, you do actually lose a little bit of the view of its face, so you could see that as a con, but I think for me, they almost feel like two more different mounts because of the way you can't see as much of its
I think the face is really defining.
Part of me does
on the
just imagine it going full Orgorger mode when I look at the front silhouette. Of course, that would be pretty bad for the rider. So, there you go. That is it for Revendreath. Next up, we've got the Devourer Mite, who is, I think, a fairly interesting looking fellow. He's got...
Not really that cool to me. I mean, like, the colors are really interesting, but I've already seen this model like a dozen times, so it's like, okay, like, this is cool, but we've already seen it. It's reskin, it's recolor, like, it's whatever, right? Not particularly exciting.
Some of that blue glow that reminds you of Ardenweald, but if you actually look at him, I mean, he totally looks like a denizen of Maldraxxus. So, yeah, pretty interesting looking dude. It does look a little bit small when you view it here, but then you've got to imagine this in the context of, well, a player riding on top of it, which does make the entire affair seem rather more horrifying, given, well, how creepy this guy is and how big it's actually going to be when you're walking around the place. So, there you go. That's that guy. Certainly, I would not like him to be nibbling on me. Next, we've got our one mount from the Maw. Wow, this one is really cool, because if you look at it, there's no There's nothing inside. It's
What
animated
the
armor.
fuck?
I don't know if we've had a mount like that before in the game. And really,
What
when we're
the
dealing with a game that has
fuck?
got so many hundreds of mounts, it's these situations like this and
Damn.
the Moth that really do get me excited. So
It gets me excited too. I like this mount a lot. So basically, the skeleton is invisible. I don't know. I think this is probably one of my favorite ones so far. Like, this is really, really cool looking.
overall, you've got 4 different tints of this. The tints don't feel super different from each other, though, which is maybe a little bit unfortunate. When I think about this in the context of everything that's going on with the Maw, though, I mean, yeah, you've got a whole bunch of enemies in the Maw that almost look like reanimated Lich King armor. So I think this is very, very
really
fitting
nice
with
looking.
that. You can see the runes that
Mythic
are
boss loot?
carved
I don't think
into
so,
him.
because it's got
At some
different
point,
colors.
I would love to actually get a reference for those runes to see if they actually mean anything, because if they did, there is so much stuff in the game you could go back and sort of look at and try to reinterpret.
Yeah.
I think what really I like about this one the most, though, is the head. There's just something about the lines on it that are so crisp, and just knowing that that's made out of metal makes it feel so vicious. And that
I feel like a lot of these mounts, like the fidelity on the mounts is so fucking good. Like a lot of these mounts and the way that they're designed and just like the color theme and everything, they're crisp, they are clean, and they have very high fidelity. Like, these are the kinds of things that I like to see in the game, right? Not these, like, super ornate, like, weird pixel pie fucking items in the game, but things that are clean, simple, and cool looking.
really is exactly what you would be wanting from the Maw, which is supposed to be the real dangerous feeling endgame only zone. Now, that said, I just said the word vicious, and speaking of vicious, well, we do have one final set of mounts to show you. Well, I hope you like spiders, because if you like spiders and you're a PvPer, you're in luck. If you don't, maybe less so. Yes, we have got the Alliance and the Horde versions of the Vicious War Spider, something that will, of course, be joining the Vicious family that includes, well, the hippos and the sabers and all of that good stuff. Yeah, this one is bloody horrible, and I mean that in the best way, right? Like, if you don't like spiders, this is probably the ultimate spider that you do not like.
I don't like this. And it's not because it's a spider. So, here's the thing. I want to go ahead and look at this here. I said this. Didn't Blizzard say they weren't going to add other spider mounts to not devalue the 2 million gold one? That's what I remember them saying. And I'm sorry, but I think this one devalues the 2 million gold one. Like, I really, really think so. I'm like fucking certain about that, okay? Do you believe them? I do believe them. It's going to be 8 million? No, it's going to be do 100 arena matches and then you get it. Like, that's all it's going to be, man. There's a different anus shape? Yeah, well, I don't care about the anus shape. It's a spider. Well, fuck the rich? Well, yeah, that's basically what it is. This is fucking socialism. They're giving everybody the spiders now, and they said they weren't going to do it. Now, if they never said they weren't going to do it, I wouldn't be pissed. I'm not even really pissed. I'm just curious. I'm like, did you change your mind? Like, what's going on? Because, like, right now, if you see a spider in the game, you know where it's from. And if you add in a bunch of other ones, then it's devalued and you've got like this crazy fucking bullshit. I don't think that's a good idea.
I think especially the one that I like the most, though, is the Horde version. The Horde version just has those classic Forsaken colors. You've got the purple, you've got the green, and the way that the green kind of... Okay, so if you actually look at it closely, you see that the limbs of the spider, the legs, are green at the bottom. But what I really love that the artists have done here is if you then look at the metal, you can almost see a little bit of the green glowing through at the bottom and at the sides.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's just a really, really nice effect. So between that and of course that Forsaken style armor, I think the Horde one is looking incredible. The Alliance one is also quite nice. It's not traditional Alliance color, so it's a little bit more varied there. But yeah, there you go. That is your vicious spiders. Then just to cap off this video, I should mention there are some data mined mount names that we actually just don't have model for right now.
Gilded
so there is
Prowler.
a Phalanx mount and an Epic Phalanx mount. I think they quite obviously will be coming from Bastion. I'd imagine that you're dealing with some sort of big automaton there. There's then also the Gilded Prowler, so when we actually look at its description, though, we see that it's described as an apex predator. That means it's not an automaton, so unlike a few of the mounts that you saw from Bastion, yeah, it's going to be an organic one. We then also have a Gargan and an epic Gargan, which sounds sort of similar to a Gorgon, and that does, yes, make me think that it's going to be another Revendreath mount. And then there's also one called Gorm. What that could be, I'm not 100% sure,
Probably just
but if
a
I
rare
think
drop
about that
mount.
name, it does sound a little bit more similar to the undead stuff, which is making me, of course, think Maldraxxus.
And there you go. That is all of the data mine mounts that, well, have appeared thus far. If any more do surface, I will be sure to add them to our planned big sort of roundup, mop-up video that will cover just about everything that's sort of minor yet important, and even some important things like the AoE changes, which are pretty big, the allied race requirements, and a bunch of other stuff. Now, if you'd like some behind the scenes, some physical loot, and more stuff, then check out our Patreon. Our team is now tripled. It was 2 in the last expansion, or the last alpha. Now it's 6, so that's why we can make so much content so fast.
Damn.
But, well, with what's out there in the world right now, ad rates have fallen off a cliff, so the extra help has been super appreciated. In return, you will get, well, we'll get as much content to you as we possibly can, and the physical stuff. And also, we're going to be doing as much work as we can to help make WoW better, to help the devs, and we're committing our own internal resources to doing audience feedback projects that are going to make their way actually back to the devs. So hopefully that will help them out. Thank you for all your help. A lot more stuff to come, so yes, I will see you soon.
Okay. Out of all the mounts, which ones was your favorite? Yeah, which ones were your favorites? New World delayed. Remind me about that in like 2 minutes, okay? And I'll look at it. Moth? Okay. In my opinion, I think my favorite mount out of all of the mounts... Oh, fuck, dude. My favorite one? Okay, let me just think. So yeah, the Balrog mount...
And then...
There's this one right here. This is a really, really strong competitor. I kind of like the unarmored one, but this one does look really cool. I'm just going to put these together and say these two are the same. All right. My number one favorite mount is probably this one with like the different coloration. And then number 2 is probably, I would say probably this one right here. And actually, I don't know, like number 2 and number 3 are pretty much the same. This one would be number 3. The Moth, I mean, like the Moth does look really cool, right? 100% the Moth looks really cool. But in my opinion, I prefer the other one, okay? I do prefer the other ones.